Hi and welcome back. In this video we're looking at something a bit more complicated, understanding some slightly more complex HTML. Let's create a new file in our project, which I'm going to call middle HTML. By the way, the files in the project, which are available at the start of this section, also contain this exact code and you can have a look at them. The files may be named slightly differently, and that should be fine, I hope. Once again, we're going to do the same from BS4 import beautiful soup. And then I'm going to paste in some HTML. In this case, our HTML is going to represent an item that is being on sale in an online website. So let's say we've managed to extract the content from the website. We're going to look at how to do that. And we've ended up with this HTML here. And with this HTML, we can find out the price of the item, the star rating of the item, and so forth. Let me show you exactly what this looks like on the website, then it'll make a bit more sense. What we've got here is a demo website for web scraping purposes. And let's say we've managed to extract some HTML content from it. The content that I've extracted and put in the file is the content that represents this object exactly, this bit of HTML here. It contains an image, a rating, a title, which seems to be partly missing, and the price, and then whether it's in stock or not, and finally a button to add it to the basket. So this HTML here is what we've copied into our file. And again, we're going to learn how to get the HTML from the site very soon. So let's go back into PyCharm and look at the HTML. This is what we've got. We've got a list item here. That's because each element is actually in a list in the website. So an element is a list item of a big list that is formatted and structured in a bit of a different way than you'd normally see lists. Then it's got an article inside it. You can see that the article spans essentially the entire document, and that is everything that we're interested in. We've got a div, which has a class image container, and a div in HTML is normally just something used to structure your content. So think of it as a rectangle and you can put things inside it. And in here, what they've put is a link. And that's the A, which is used for linking. href is the URL or the address of the page that the link goes to. And inside the link, notice how the link starts here and ends here in this closing tag. You've got a image. This is an image tag. And this is the source of the image, that is some JPEG file. It's got some alt property, and it's got a class property. The alt property is the alternate text to show if the image cannot load for some reason. So that is the title of the book, actually, A Light in the Attic. Outside the div, we have a p tag, a paragraph tag, which is used for the star rating. This is a bit of a bizarre way of doing a star rating, but you can see that there is a class star rating and another class which is separated by a space in HTML called 3 with a capital T. So this book has 3 stars, but you can see inside it there are 5 I tags which are used for icons. So you can see that we must look at 3, this class here, and not at the number of I tags, because the I tags are always 5. So we don't want to look at that, we want to look at this 3. Then outside the P you have an H3, which is the title of the book, and you can see that the contents of the H3 are a light in the ... Presumably the book name is too long and it couldn't be displayed fully on the website. However, the H3 contains inside it a link to the book page, presumably, and also has a title property in it, a title attribute that is also the title of the book. Then you've got a div, which is the product price, and inside it you've got a p tag, which contains the class price color, and that contains the price of the book with a pound symbol in front of it. Also inside the div you have this other p tag called with class in stock and another class called availability. Presumably this class in stock will only be present in the document when the thing is in stock. And if it's out of stock, it'll say something else, possibly. We don't know that. Inside that p tag, you've got an I class, which is for an icon, an IE tag, sorry, that's for an icon, and that has a class icon-OK. Then you've got the text in stock. Notice how this is weirdly formatted. And finally, you've got a form that has a button in it. Don't have to worry too much about that. We're not going to be looking into this. Then you close the div that you started up here. Finally, you close the article. You close the list item, which is for the entire thing. And then you close your HTML. So we sort of understand this code. Maybe it's not the clearest thing in the world, but we are going to try to extract some data from it. So let's do just that. The first thing is, of course, to create our soup. So we're going to do beautiful soup of item HTML and the HTML.parser. Then we're going to start by locating the item name. Okay, so the item name, the title of the book, is, for example, in this A. You remember we've got an image there that has an alt property, which is the title of the book. Or more normally, we can get it off the actual title. This is a heading 3, as you know, and inside it there's an A, and the A has a property title, and that's the title of the book. We cannot get the content out of the string property because that has a 3 dots and it's missing part of the title. So we must get it through here. Okay, let's do that. Let's create a function which is going to be find item name. And I'm going to introduce to you a new way of locating things, which I think is substantially easier than the default way. So we're going to identify from the start of our document what path of children will give us our element, our A element. So as you can see, our title tag, our title property here is in this A tag. The A tag is in the H3 tag. The H3 tag is in the article tag. The article tag is in the LI tag, which is in the body tag, which is in the HTML tag. So we're going to look at any of these parents. We can start at anywhere. We can start in the LI, we can start at the article, we can start at the H3, and we're going to say article is the first one, for example. Then comes H3, then comes A. And you can see that because this div here, for example, is in the same level as this P tag. The indentation is not very good, but you can see that the div tag opens here and it closes here, which means the P tag is not inside it. And the P tag closes here, which means the H3 tag is not inside it. So these are all on the same level, which means they're all children of the article. And the A is a children of an H3. So what we've got essentially in our locator is we've got an article, then separated by space we have a H3, and then we have an A. And this sort of hierarchy allows Beautiful Soup to find elements very easily. Okay? If you wanted to narrow down into a specific article, for example, if you've had many articles, notice how this article has a class of product_pod. So you can actually say article.product pod. And what this means now is you're looking for the article that has class product pod, and inside it you're looking for an H3, and inside it you're looking for an A. And this, once you do, for example, item name is soup.select1 locator, is going to give you whatever it is that this results in. This thing here is known as a CSS locator, and it's really powerful. It allows us to essentially do this sort of thing. And it's the way that CSS, the CSS language, also locates things. We're not going to look into CSS in this course, or at least not yet, but that's what it's called, essentially. In its simplest terms, we can get the parent, narrow it down by a class if we want, and then go down to a child, and then another child, and so forth, until we have a hierarchy that is not repeated throughout the site. So if you only have one article with a product pod, one H3, and one A, then that's going to give you this hierarchy here that you can search for. Now that you've got we're not going to call it item name, we're going to call it item link. Now you've got the item link, we can say item name is item link .attrs title. Again, this accesses the attributes of the link. Our link is here. And we're going to access the title property or attribute of that link. And then we can print the item name out. Let's run the function, and remember to run your middle HTML file. And you can see that we get a light in the attic printed out. Now, using these locators, you can essentially locate anything. So here's a small challenge for you. Using a locator, you're going to actually use the same one. Find out the link to this item's page. So what you're looking for is this href here. I'm sure you can do it. I hope you managed. All that we have to do is essentially access the same locator, but instead of the title, access another attribute, which is the href attribute. So we're going to copy, paste it in here, and we're going to call it find item link, and then we're going to access the href attribute here. Again, it's the same element, article with product pod class, the h3 tag, which is a child, and the a tag, which is a child of that. And then we're going to select that. And finally, we're going to access the attributes of that. And we're going to print it out. But of course, now that we have this item link, that's a pretty good name for our link. We're going to just do this. So access the item, the tag, and then access the href property of that. And then we can print that out. Let's delete this. And run again. And now you can see that we get the title, and then we get the link here as well. This is a relative link, so it doesn't give you the entire domain name and the website and everything, but that's okay. I mean, we'll learn how to deal with that later on. Okay. Using this locator, now we can find other things. So we can find, for example, the item price and the item rating. It's not so easy to do because you're going to have to do some other calculations. For example, if you wanted to find the item's price, which is here, you're going to look at article, then you're going to potentially look at a P that has price color class, and then you're going to look at its contents, the string contents of it. But this is not a number, it is a string. So you may want to strip out the pound sign and use a regular expression to extract this group. I think this would be a great exercise for us to review what we've learned in the last section and give it a go. Try to extract 51.77 as a float using Beautiful Soup and the regular expressions. Give that a go. Pause the video and go for it. I hope you managed. It's a bit of a more complicated way to go about things, but what we're going to do is first of all locate this. First of all, get the string out with Beautiful Soup. So I'm going to create a new function. Find item price, and then I'm going to define my locator, which is going to be article.productPod, and inside it we've got p.priceColor. So here we're accessing the article that has this class and the p that has this class, and that's going to give us a pretty good understanding, or it's going to give Beautiful Soup a good understanding of how to get there. Then we're going to access the item price, which is going to be soup.select1 locator.string. All that's happening here is we're finding that tag and we're accessing the string content of it. So this is going to give us pound sign 51.77 or however much it was. Yeah, 51.77. So this is giving us that. Now we have this, we have to use a regular expression in order to extract it. So going to the top of the file, I'm going to import the RE module, import RE. Notice how I am doing this import RE at the top of the file, and from blah 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 import something else directly underneath it. This is Python sort of convention to do these type of imports at the top, this type of imports just directly below them. Now that we've got the RE module, we can define our pattern, the regular expression we're looking for. And this is going to be, first of all, the pound symbol, 51.77. This is going to match. And we want to extract 51.77 as a number. So we're going to put it inside these brackets so that we can extract it using the group. Then, of course, we're not interested in this 51.77 only, but if the price were to change, we'd want to get the changed price. So instead of putting 51.77 in here, we're going to have to use something that will allow us to get a range of numbers. And the way we're going to do that is by doing 0 to 9 inside the square brackets. This is a range of numbers from 0 to 9. Then we're going to do plus. So that's going to give us one or more of these numbers. And then we're going to make sure to put a backslash in front of the dot so that it matches the dot and not anything, which is what it means in regular expressions. And for the 77, we're going to do the same, 0 to 9 plus. Then we're going to search and get our groups. So our groups, or our matcher, is going to be re.search, pattern, and item price. And again, this is going to give us two groups. Group 0, which is going to be the entire thing that matches. And then matcher.group 1, which is going to be the first group that is between the brackets. So that's going to be 51.77 without the pound symbol. Okay, this is going to be 51.77. This is going to be 51.77 without the symbol. So we can indeed turn it into a float. Okay, we're printing out the float of this matcher. And so let's run that and see what happens. And as you can see, we get 51.77 with the pound sign and 51.77 without the pound sign. Okay. Let's say we wanted to print it out, but at a 20% discount, we could multiply by 0.8, and this should work because it's a number now, it's not a string. And as you can see, it works. We get 41.416. So that's pretty awesome. We have now learned how to extract a number using Beautiful Soup and regular expressions from a website. So for example, the things we can do now, once we learn, of course, how to interact with the website, which we will do shortly in this section, you can, for example, track item prices online. For example, let's say you play badminton and you want to track the price of badminton rackets over time in order to find out when you should buy one. You could do this with a simple Python app that essentially downloads the site and looks through it using something like this. Finally, let's find out the item's rating. The rating is going to be a bit more complicated because we have to look at exactly one attribute, which is this 3 here. But of course, this is in a p tag, and there are many p tags around. So let's find this out. Let's go down here. We're going to do def find item rating. The locator is going to be article.productPod, and inside it, p.starRating. That's because the paragraph we're looking for is the one that has this class, star-rating. In CSS, classes are always separated by spaces. So what this p tag has is 2 classes, star rating and 3. So we're looking for the paragraph that has the star rating class, and it also has other classes, but we're not limited to only this one. So this locator will find that paragraph. It has the p.starRating, and if we wanted to also find it with the 3 class, we could do this. But we don't want to find it with 2 classes, just in case the rating changes. So we're going to stick it with this only. Okay. The star rating element, the tag or the star rating tag, is going to be soup.find select one here locator. So this gives us the tag. Okay. Now we can get the class tags out of it. So the classes are star rating tag .attrs class. And this is now, when Beautiful Soup extractors, is going to be 2 classes. These 2. This is what it's going to give us. So we need to find out what this is. But remember, it could be the first one. It doesn't necessarily have to be the second class. So this list could be like this. We cannot just select the second element. That would be too easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to recreate this classes list, but without this star rating. I'm sure you can do that using either a list comprehension or the filter function. Give it a go. I'm sure you managed. There are 2 ways that we could do this. We could say rating classes is R for R in classes if R is not equal to star rating. This would be one way, or we could do rating classes equals filter of lambda x for x is not a star rating in classes. Okay, either of these would be perfectly suitable. The code that you'll see online has this, so we're going to leave the list comprehension in the video. If you want to look out at the other way of doing things, check out the video which is linked at the start of the lecture and also at the start of this section and also in the lecture. Now this list here should contain a single element, this 3. So we can just say print rating classes 0. We're assuming that the paragraph is not going to have any other tags. Say, for example, a hello class. Would be weird, but it can happen. And this method, if that's the case, is not ideal for that. But through looking at a few of the items on the website, it seems that there are only ever 2 classes, star rating and the rating. And so that could be 4 or 5 or 3 and so on. Finally, let's call this one find item rating and run this. And there you have it down here. We've got the number of stars in this book. So we could use this now to search the books. So we could, for example, download the entire page and find which books have 5 stars and are under £20. And that would be something that we could do. But before we do that, of course, we have to learn to extract the content from the site by downloading the website. So we're going to do that very soon. But first, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about how to improve on this structure. You're not always going to, or you're not going to want to have, these top level functions for each thing you're finding. You're not going to want your functions to be printing things out necessarily. So we're going to make things a bit better. We're going to start separating things into classes and things like that, just so you have a better idea of how I'd recommend that you go about parsing the HTML and sort of dealing with it nicely in your programs. So with that said, I'll see you on the next video.